Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing good. Today we will be taking up your section C, that is literature, of your sample paper. So let us start and see what it is all about. So section C is of 20 marks. So here we have students answer any 6. Okay, so any 6 questions you have to answer in 30 to 40 words each, and that makes it 12 marks, and the rest 2 questions will be of 8 marks. Okay, so the sum total of it will be 20 marks. But students, you will have to remember that before attempting, you need to have an in-depth understanding of the lesson. It is not important that you only read the text, but you need to understand the lesson in depth and also remember its main parts. Okay, so the questions asked here are very important. So here we have, what is the significance of Buddha's request for the handful of mustard seeds and an addition of condition to it? So this you must be knowing, students, that this was when Kisa Gautami met Buddha. He asked her to get a handful of mustard seeds from a house where no one had died. Okay, so why was she asked to do so? Because Buddha wanted to make her understand that there was no single house where someone had not died. Okay, so and that death was natural and inevitable to all. Inevitable, as I explained you earlier, which was unavoidable to everyone. Okay, that which will occur and happen to everyone. Kisa then could realize that she perhaps was being overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means was being too sad about the fact that her son was no more with her by the death of her son. Okay, so it is very important, students, that you write proper and good answers, and also it is important that you understand the lesson in detail, in depth rather, and attempt greatly. Now, next question they have asked is, justified how animals by Walt Whitman is a criticism of mankind as human species, students, and its ways. Okay, so how this poetry animals is a sort of criticism, is a critique on mankind and the way he lives. Okay, so here we may write saying that human beings are referred as the most civilized, as you know, students, means cultured species in the world, but according to the poet they lack the values. Which values? The values that we discussed earlier in the video, which are better exhibited are showcased by the animals. Okay, mankind lacks the quality of being what? Of being respectful, happy, contented, and peace loving, which still is reflected in whom? In animals. Okay, animals on the other hand do not grumble is complain, as you know, about their lives, or lie awake, cry over their sins, or discuss their duty towards God as humans do. Okay, so these all points are there in your poetry, and as you know, you need to be including them. Animals are far from the mania of owing things. Owing things means possessing things, as we discussed, nor do they kneel before, that is, they do not show undue respect as humans do. Okay, moreover, the tokens of goodness you may add, that is the gifts of goodness of love, respect, and satisfaction or contentness has been dropped by human beings, mankind, while animals picked those or adopted those. Okay, so you see, similar sort of questions will be asked, students, so it is very important for you to understand poetry, especially in detail, be it content wise or structure wise. There will be questions from anywhere, and the pattern will be similar, the nature of the questions basically will be similar. Okay, they'll be asking same sort of questions, maybe from different poetry. Okay, so one will be about the criticism, critically appreciating it, one will be about the tone, one will be about the structure. Okay, so this is how it is going to be. Maybe the poetry or the sections or the chapters may differ, so be thorough with all your lessons, learn them and understand them, so that you can add your own words and can offer what you have to. Okay, now let us take up the next question. Comment on the C tone. The tone of the speaker has come when she says, will you please look at me, Amanda? So again, the tone of the speaker is important here, that is why they've asked this question. So Amanda's mother or guardian, how does she address Amanda when she says, will you please look at me, Amanda? Now the speaker rather seems to be annoyed with Amanda's behavior. Okay, she's trying to make her pay attention to her. Okay, therefore the tone is attention drawing annoyed. Who is annoyed? The speaker is annoyed, the mother is annoyed, and agitated. Agitated means irritated, tired, and high pitched. Of course, whenever you want someone to pay attention to you, you shout or yell. So she then yells, is high pitched. This rather is because the speaker is wanting Amanda to be well behaved. Okay, so then we can comment upon why she does so and how ideally she should be dealing with the situation. Okay, so she is wanting Amanda to be well behaved, mannerly, and have good habits, and this is one reason she is saying so, and thus giving her too many instructions or nagging her. Nagging her means finding faults with her, to which Amanda has turned aloof. What is turning aloof? Turning aloof, students, basically means drawing out of situation or of the present condition. So she then turns aloof, that is turning detached. The speaker should rather adopt, so what should speaker ideally be doing? Should rather adopt a positive and persuasive. Positive and persuasive means convincing, affectionate tone and measures, understanding the teenage psychology. Okay, else they will, who will? The teenagers or a person like Amanda or people of her age group will stop listening to the speaker and indulge in daydreaming as Amanda does. Okay, so they may indulge in daydreaming just like Amanda does. Okay, so this was about the tone of the speaker and what she should ideally be doing. Okay, so now next we have a ballad includes the telling of a tale as well as a surprise ending, giving examples from the poetry. Explain how these features are used. You may skip this question, students, because this is aptitude based question and this can only be done by those who have natural aptitude or inclination towards language and to whom poetry occurs naturally or happens naturally. So it is very difficult to learn the lines from the poetry and citing examples and explaining how ballad is used in a more postmodern context. Okay, so I'd suggest you, since this is the last moment, you may skip this question and attempt the rest 6. Okay, now this one is from this question, the Lamau lesson. Which two decisions about himself convinced Lamau of his decision to get married? Okay, so this you must be knowing, students. One, that he was already 35 years old and thought it was the perfect age for him to get settled, and secondly, he wanted to have Chupko's Oxen Meadows. Okay, that is his property, Oxen Meadows, for himself, and so he thought by striking an alliance with Chupko's daughter he would be able to meet both his desires. Okay, why? One is that he was 35-year-old and second, he wanted to have Oxen Meadows for himself. So these two reasons were enough for Lamau to get married. Now next we have briefly state how Matilda's invited a life of necessity into her family. Now this question is about the process, or why did Matilda lead a life of poverty. Okay, so life of necessity means life of poverty. Okay, so we can just start by saying that Matilda's pride and unrealistic expectations. Okay, so one is pride, as you all know, and unrealistic expectation to look what she was not at the party. Okay, to look what she actually was not her current situation, to have a kind of deceiving look that she was the richest and the prettiest of all, coupled with dishonesty. Why dishonesty? Why? She was being dishonest to herself and to the people around, that is people in the society. Okay, paved the way for her to lead a life of necessity, which made her lead a life of what? Which made her lead a life of poverty. And then we'll talk about the process. For 10 long years, Matilda and her husband slogged to pay back the debt. Slogged means what, students? Slogged means worked hard to pay back the debt, that is loan, which they hadn't even incurred. Incurred means taken or deserved. Okay, she could have avoided borrowing a necklace from her friend. So what instead she could have done? She could have avoided borrowing a necklace and could have behaved in a less greedy manner and could have rather learned to accept her current situation by being content, by being satisfied with what she had. Okay, so this is how we can state this, that how she invited the life of necessity into short, because this is a 2-mark question. Now this one is from Hack Driver. The hack driver successfully trapped the narrator in the web of his words. Comment. Okay, so we can say Lutkins or the hack driver never really allows the driver to reach the place, right? He keeps on manipulating the lawyer, poor lawyer, and this is the sad part, where imaginary Lutkins, okay, is supposed to be So say the driver said that Lutkins is supposed to be at so and so place. He never really takes him to that place at the given point of time. He always deceives him, or either he is late or early at that point. Like when he says to keep out of sight behind him when they go into Fritz. Okay, so there are lot many things wherein there are subtle hints given that he himself is Lutkins, who the driver. Okay, so when he says to keep out of sight behind him means he should be out of sight and behind him. Okay, and when they go into Fritz means a person there. It's a kind of very strong hint he gives to the author that he himself is Lutkins. Also the way he weaves story about Lutkins' mother, that she is a cook and runs a restaurant, and all of those are the ways of fooling the lawyer are all well devised by the Lutkins himself. So the hack driver fools this poor lawyer. All around the village he doesn't allow the lawyer to gain information. So what does he do? He doesn't allow the lawyer to gain the right kind of information about him, of which the villagers too are somehow aware of. Now villagers too support this Lutkins and are the part of his scheme, so they too join the drama and help this Lutkins manipulating this lawyer. Okay, this hack driver successfully traps the narrator in the web of his words. Okay, so just citing one example from the story and describing in what all ways was this lawyer deceived, you can allow your answer to be precise and you can write that. Now this is answer any two of the following into 120 words. So you have 4 marks question each, so of which the first one is a sort of comparison between two lessons. Okay, so this is why I told you to understand all of the lessons in detail so that you can offer it in your own words and produce good answers. So here they have asked students, parents play a crucial role in upbringing of their children. Okay, so this is parents play a crucial role in the upbringing of their children. Now critically examine the parents of Bholi. Okay, this is from lesson Bholi and Ebright, the making of a scientist, highlighting their impact on their children's lives. So how parents and their support and encouragement helps children leading the kind of life they deserve. Okay, so you need to be comparing the two parents here. One is Boli's and the second one, as I told you, is Ebright. The major theme of the story Boli is the impact of family on children. You may start writing this way. Boli is a little girl, as you all know students, fails to develop her self-confidence because of her parents' attitude towards her. The story hints why family support and emotional security are essential for the proper development of a child. Okay, there are enough coveted hints. Coveted means implied hints provided by the writer, wherein we can see that Boli is not taken care in the way she deserves to be. Okay, so here we see that Boli's parents are not sensitive enough towards her and do not take good care of her. So we can give some examples here, like when her parents do not complain about the children who make Boli feel miserable. Okay, as parents they should be complaining and standing against the children who make her feel miserable and about her condition, or no, they do not even take care about her condition, that how she is dressed and how she is treated at school, or when she is blindly given in the hands of 50-year-old Bishambar for marriage. Okay, they even do not take into consideration that to whom are they actually getting their educated daughter married, not taking into consideration Bishambar's age, education, nature and upbringing. Okay, so this is how we see that how Boli's parents did not take good care of her and how she was devoid of conducive atmosphere or upbringing. Okay, now we have in contrast we have Richard Ebright's mother, who helped him give a conducive atmosphere. Conducive means supportive, wherein he could dedicate himself in becoming a scientist. So wherein he can actually dedicate himself in becoming a scientist. She helped in deepening his curiosity by providing him with books like The Growth of Monarch 10, because he was interested in butterflies, so he was also provided with the similar kind of books and resourceful material. So also by exposing him to the science exhibitions around him and making him the part of the same, which helped him further deepening his research and thus finally being able to continue potentially to the field of science. So he contributed potently. Potently means strongly, something that mattered. Okay, Overall, Richard Ebright's support from the family and society around him helped him long way to carry on a task as best as he could, and in developing a sort of sensibility that winning an award for the sake of winning was never his goal. Okay, so overall, Ebright's support from the family and society around helped him in long way to carry on a task as best as he could, and in developing a sort of sensibility that winning an award for the sake of winning was never his goal. So this is very important, students. Even the kind of mentality that we generate or develop by the right kind of atmosphere is also the kind of people who have supported us or are with us. So here we see Richard's mother helping him becoming the right kind of scientist. Okay, though he had won lot of awards at exhibitions, but could actually rightly think that for him winning was not the ultimate goal. Okay, so that's the right kind of nurturing, that's the right kind of atmosphere, and this is how a person should be dedicated to his or her field. Okay, so these all are the intricate differences between Bholi's parents and Ebright's parents. Okay, then we have, okay, so here these are any two of the following, so you may attempt this one, comparing and contrasting one, and then you can also attempt this one. This is pretty interesting. You can make use of your imagination and have a kind of conversation that you desire to, but let us see what the question is asking us to do. So Pranjal and Rajveer discuss their next vacation destination. So here we see two characters, one is Pranjal and Rajveer, and they are discussing their vacation destination. So they shortlist Coorg and Goa. So this is based on your lesson Glimpses of India. This is the nicest way they could make it interesting. Okay, so Rajveer is keen on Coorg. Now since they say Rajveer is keen, it means that the question is demanding us to talk of Coorg, okay, rather than Goa. Okay, so we ideally should not be making a conversation wherein they two fight and do not reach a conclusion, or a lot of us, in order to make it a sort of funny or not reaching a point sort of thing, should not be done. Okay, so do not try doing that, because the words make it clear that Rajveer is keen on Coorg. So we have to talk of Coorg, of what we have read from the text. Okay, and tries to convince Pranjal. Okay, and then we'll see Pranjal getting convinced. Okay, so this is how we have to develop a conversation based on your understanding of Glimpses of India. You may begin like this. Okay, so basically it is providing information about Coorg and how Coorg is a better place, and what all things we can do at Coorg. Okay, so you may start like this. Rajveer: hey Pranjal, I think we should be visiting Coorg with coffee plantation. I smell the aroma already. Okay, so I gave you the opportunity to explore the tea plantation in Assam last year. This time I want to explore Goa. What do you feel? Okay, so Rajveer is talking to Pranjal, and he thinks that I think we should be visiting Coorg with coffee plantation. I smell the aroma already. Okay, and Pranjal says, I gave you the opportunity to explore the tea plantation in Assam last year. This time I want to explore Goa. So Pranjal say that since she has already explored the tea plantation, she is rather interested in Goa. So what does Rajveer feels? Now from here we'll see that Rajveer is trying to convince Pranjal, and this is how it goes. Okay, Rajveer says, Goa I feel we already have been to. Besides, it's all about beaches and churches, which don't you feel we have explored enough in Mumbai? So we can say that they both would be the residents of Mumbai, and that they have seen these things similar to Goa. Since we have to convince the other person for Coorg, or we have to communicate more things about Coorg. Okay, why don't we try exploring Coorg? Isn't it a beautiful place of highlands with a generally cool and wet climate? What do you suggest? Now from here we see that he is dropping hints about Coorg, and these hints are should not be imaginary, but these hints should be informative rather, and from your text. Okay, why? Because we have to talk of Kurg. Of course you can include some more information, but you have to make it a proper blend of emotions and of information. Okay, so this is how Rajveer starts to speak his heart. Okay, now Pranjul. Yeah, I know Goa is similar to the place we already reside in, but just for the sake of exploring its culture and getting away from the humdrum of city life. So here we see that she is interested in Goa, but she is asking that since Goa is nearby and we could get away from the humdrum of city life. Okay. Rajveer says, well, in that case, Kurg is the best place. Believe me, it looks like a piece of heaven that must have drifted from the kingdom of God. Okay, so these again, he says things like it is a piece of heaven that must have a part of heaven which have drifted, that is on land, has come on land. Okay, and it is the kingdom of God. Okay. Pranjal, how do you know? So Pranjal says that tell me, how do you know? How can you be so sure of? Then Rajveer, well, I can vouch that just not because I have seen and read about it in books and on internet, but I'm sure you must be knowing about my friend Jay, the travel blogger. He recently could visit Kurg and had good things to say about the place. Okay, so we see Rajveer that I could vouch that just not because he had seen and read about it in books and it is on internet, and that he is saying that his friend Jay, the travel blogger, has recently visited Kurg and he has good things to say about the place. Okay, Pranjal. Oh, that sounds interesting. How was the experience? Okay, so Pranjal says that okay, that sounds interesting, and how the experience was. Okay, Rajveer says yes. He said that it was pleasant staying there, and that Kurg indeed is a land of rolling hills and is also home of evergreen rainforest, spices and coffee plantation. Okay, then again he is dropping hints and revealing information about Kurg, that yes, it was a pleasant staying there, and that Kurg indeed is a land of rolling hills. Okay, rolling hills means lot of hills, and it is a home of evergreen rainforest, spices and coffee plantation. And for Goa like experience, I assure you, you won't regret witnessing Kaveri river flowing through Kurg. Okay, so he says that for Goa like experience, she won't be regretting. Why? Because there is already Kaveri river flowing through the Kurg. And yes, who would want to miss the sight of Brahmgiri hills? Okay, so he said who would want to miss the sight of beautiful Brahmgiri hills there in Kurg. Pranjal, I see. What about the Goan landscape sort of an experience? So she says yes, she can understand, and but how about the experience that she had experienced, the Goan landscape that she feels to visit? Rajveer, well, for that you won't be disappointed either. The river, the hills, the birds, bees, and the butterflies, along with beautiful aroma of coffee plantation, bring a panoramic view of the entire misty landscape of Kurg. Now, what is panoramic? Yes, photographic, you can say. Entire misty landscape of Kurg. Misty means what you have dew like. Okay, Jay did say it indeed felt ultimate being there. So Jay does say that it indeed felt ultimate being there. Pranjal, is it? What made him say so? So Pranjal is excited, we can see, and he said what made Jay say so, because now we see that she is slightly in the mood to, or she is rather getting convinced. Okay, Rajveer, well, I could sense that he was being true to himself when he said if you are looking for the heart and soul of India, you should visit Kurg. Okay, so he said if you're looking for the heart and soul of India, you should visit Kurg. So this is where he talks about his friend, where he is not only philosophical but also genuine about himself, talking of his feelings and experience at Kurg. Okay, Pranjal, well then just let's pack our bag for Kurg. And then we see Pranjal agreeing to Rajveer. Okay, great, that made my day. I'll get the tickets booked. Okay, so he says great, that made his day, and that he'll get the tickets booked. Okay, so this, since is your first dialogue writing, I'd want you to keep it very simple, and yes, it should be a balanced thing wherein wherein he is talking of that place, and also he is convincing, and then Pranjal is convinced. Okay, now evaluate the play proposal as a farce. Now this also you can skip, students, since you have to attempt any two, and it's a choice, that you may attempt something in creative writing, that is dialogue writing, or you may, and the first question that was asked, that is comparing and contrasting. Despite that, if you wish to attempt, students, here I have given the answers. You may read them at ease, and then you may go on to write. Okay, so here all the question and answers are given, and you may take down the notes from here of this third question. Okay, and for MCQs and content based questions, you may contact the numbers given. Thank you, take care.